actually having to sit down with a keyboard and mouse. The idea was keyboards are 200 years old, mice are 60 years old. Why are we using old technology? So we did a bit of research into what it might be like to work with something that was a lot more natural, and the idea was to keep things really social. And you're about to ask me something now. How are you doing, sir?
We got a problem getting Nathan on the wireless, but everybody else all alright? After a while.
When's my first reboot Windows?
Okay, we'll try that.
So,
Try the whole clear all the DNS stuff out, just do IT configuration.
we can just wait for Andrew, it's fine. Done?
Done.
Thank you. Right, so, thank you. The whole idea behind this is making people more social. So the whole point is that we want to have an experience that is not sitting at a computer being antisocial doing stuff. Right, we have laptops, that's what they're good for, right? We have smartphones that do different things. We have Kinect that is a very social gaming thing. So this is the idea that actually you sit at a table having coffee with someone. You don't necessarily want to do all of the most powerful computing in the world when you sat at a table having coffee with someone, but technology can enhance that experience. And the whole idea is that some of the stuff that you do sat in front of a computer with a keyboard and a mouse, you don't necessarily need a keyboard and mouse to do. Surface is kind of this idea that a computer can be really interactive. It's not designed to replace the laptop, it's not designed to replace that kind of category of device. It's designed to be a bit of technology that people can crowd around, that can encourage people to work together, to learn together if it's in a school, do all sorts of different things. The really cool thing about it is that, like I was saying before, it can detect some 800,000 different touch points. It can also detect the difference between objects, and not only does it detect fingers and the fact that I'm moving around like that, but this particular thing, which is the screensaver, and I can even tell my screensaver is great. If I was to whack my arm down, it detects that it's a big object. If I was to splash over here, because it knows that my arm is blocking the part of the water, it didn't make ripples over there, which is pretty cool. So the menu is a different interface to a normal computer. It's not going to run Windows as you know it. It's got Windows in the background, but this is the interface that you get to Surface. There are lots and lots of apps that we've got installed on here. I'll show you a bit about how Surface works, and then we can go on and explore other things. It's released already? Yeah, this is released. Buy one if you have a spare few £1,000. So, like I was saying before, Surface isn't based on a touch surface like something like an iPad is. It's faced with cameras underneath to look up. So if I were to put my hand down here, you can see this is just showing us in mirror what Surface is actually seeing on the camera. So it can know that that is a hand shape, that that's a finger. It can tell what direction the finger's pointing in because of the trail that it leaves behind. It knows what I'm touching because my finger looks hotter when it's being touched, and that kind of thing. It can also detect different objects. So I have a variety of things here. It can detect, if I put down, for example, if I was to put that down, it can actually start to see and make out pictures and text. The other quite cool thing that it can do is read a barcode. So if I was to put a barcode down, you can see that actually it can read that really clearly. So if you were to have devices that have those things on the bottom, then you can actually start to interact with things in a really cool way. Now where that gets quite cool is with some of the apps we've got.
Is it possible to reproduce images that you finish on it? Because you use infrared and with cameras and the same technology in practice.
You can take a screenshot of what was on the...
No, not
You take a picture of like your hand on top of it.
No, not from your hand, but in just like the card you put on it, is it possible to reproduce the image, the image in colour?
No, the cameras are they're infrared cameras, they're not colour cameras.
Yeah, but I think should use infrared.
Yes, it doesn't work in the same way. So, probably the easiest app to show off is...
I'm looking for paint.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Because
Try to find the icon.
How do you spell that? Has it got like a...
When you write apps with the Surface SDK, you can build in the Surface installer, so you just kind of put it in auto installs. But yeah, there is an admin mode for this as well. We are currently not in admin mode. I'm not showing you admin mode. We normally have paint on this thing. Oh, I'm disappointed that it's not here. So there is a version of paint for Surface which is really fun, and it can do multi-touch painting, which is quite cool. Just kind of going forward on the showing off what the camera was seeing, this actually shows what the data translates to. So if I put my things down there, it's actually detecting that those are fingers, and there are 5 of them. It actually can tell me what orientation my finger is, so what the position is, and actually what way it's facing, which is quite cool. If you were to all put your fingers down on here, I mean, already we've got 50 there. Oh, you're pressing stuff. Press that. Can you take your hand off there? So yeah, there we go. You can see that it's detecting loads of stuff there.
So how many separate objects can you put in?
About 800,000.
800,000?
Yeah. You can't fit that many.
A lot of fingers.
It gives it a new ID every time. So if you look there, when I press down, it keeps counting up. So every single event that happens is a new ID for Surface, which is quite cool. You also, if I put that down, it's recognising if you can move your hand off so you can see that, it's recognising the fact that it's got a tag, and it's showing me the orientation of that, so it knows, when I turn this poker chip with the tag on the bottom round, it knows what direction it's facing in, which is pretty cool.
Again, is it the same tag?
It's the same tag. The ID of the event has changed, but it is the same tag. The tag has the same data stored in it.
How long does it store that data for?
It entirely depends on the application. So these tags are application specific. They'll mean different things for different applications.
The ID actually different every time anyway. There's presumably no way of working out the same object.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw Paolo. Some general objects in there.
It recognises things that have tags on the bottom.
I thought it was a credit card actually ages ago.
Don't know quite what that's doing in there. So it can do all sorts of different things. It's quite a cool app for graphic, which is quite fun to play with.
Harry Potter app.
That's one of Ben's personal ones.
right, yeah.
So this is quite a boring app because it's learning about history, which frankly I find dull. But what this does demonstrate is if you pick one, you pick one, you pick one, and I'll pick one, just one of these. So notice there, it opened them up all facing exactly who had done it. So the software inside Surface is really clever. It can tell when it can tell when I press this that I'm facing that way, and if I were to turn it, yeah, you can turn it around too. If I were to press it from there, it would go that way because it knows where I'm coming from, which is quite cool. The other really cool thing that we've done, before I just let you have a bit of an explore, to remember where the is here somewhere. There it is. So, a little while ago we said to one of the guys who works over in Reading, we want to have some games on Surface, so write a physics engine. So he went away for a couple of months, came back with a beard, a hunchback, and a physics engine. And he wrote the best physics engine that we could have ever hoped for, because it actually interacts with physical objects as well. So this is, standard mode physics engine. I can just fire objects that have different ways and maps at each other. Lovely. What I'm going to do now is turn on gravity, which is currently pointing in that direction. Let me just... there we go. I'm in the wrong mode. So gravity's pointing that way, but I've got a poker chip on here that says gravity direction. If I start turning that, it will just change the direction of gravity to where I have that chip. So it's a really cool app that actually lets me become the master of gravity. If I'd have written an app to say, give me a bigger head, that probably would have worked. The other really cool thing is that actually, this is the sun, so suns have mass. If I were to put that there, you'd find that all of these things with their different weights are attracted to the sun, but if they started orbiting, you'll actually notice that because they all have different masses, they will orbit the sun in different ways. The sun's got quite a wide orbit there.
But its orbit is like elliptical as well. It's not.
Well, that's because of the way that I threw it in there and all sorts of things. If they start orbiting, they'll start to create themselves sooner or later, so they respond to different bits of gravity. If I were to throw a second sun into our solar system, things would be pretty well devastated. So you can see that it does all sorts of things. The other quite cool thing here, I'm just going to I'll go into there for a second, is that I can then create physical objects that have links to the software. So this is a spring. If I were to go like that, I've now attached the software object to a hardware object by a spring, which is pretty cool. I've got another spring, so I could quite happily just set that up and make myself a slingshot just out of software. And so, you know, it's a pretty clever physics engine, all things considered. So that's really cool and can be used when anyone's writing a Surface app, which is pretty awesome. There's an SDK for this, so if you decide, hey, I want to write a Surface app, you can download an emulator to your computer, you can write software for it. It's all just standard C# stuff. And if we like it, we'll stick it on our surfaces and start demoing it. So please feel free to scroll through some apps and have a go.